Today was sort of unsuccessful, but let's say I barely made the cut this day. So not as many details here, but here we go. I was unable to wake up early today, so I was not able to do as many chores as I need to do in the morning. But I did the basics of refilling the water, and the chickens, and the birds, and obviously not enough time to cook breakfast. So I just went down to a local restaurant to get food, and big credit goes to Giomara P, the cashier again. I came to PE late this time, and the teacher attendant dropped us and said, "No excuses, you guys are sophomores," and then put us inside the PE room, and we prepared and got ready to our class. For the first 32 minutes, we did 4 lap walks. No running, but it went mostly fine. The only weird things that I saw are the typical sex jokes that boys make and the boyfriend group makes her. The first one they made is that apparently how hard one's willy gets when someone uses feet on it. And the other one they made is that, would you have your willy with a pimple or have it hurt for 2 days? And one said, that gives me a reason to jay off, quote unquote. Crazy stuff that I've been hearing. I was silent most of the time, but like, dang, this friend group comes up with this. This is like crazy. But as for most of the walk, it went fine. I don't really have much things to note here. I did lower down the tone because they're kind of passing down a few boundaries. So I countered saying that my friend is a Nigerian prince, and instead now went on a whole debate for the rest of the time. Around 50 minutes left, I played volleyball with Maurice's group. Again, credit to you guys, the final 3 people. And for the next 35 minutes, it went chill, but a few minutes after, we got called for roll call one more time for a final sport to play for the rest of the time since this given year is already over. I couldn't make a decision in time, so instead I just chose what I was already playing, volleyball. Then later on, we continued on that game, and as it went over one of the benches in between the court, I told one of them, who was one of my friends who were not playing, and he said, "Is there a problem?" in a very tough masculine voice, and I held out a hand instead. He sits to a bro hug and coming down the tone very fast back into neutral. For social studies history, we did more Soviet Cold War notes and whether US sent aid to broken countries to stop them from asking support from the USSR and the NATO versus the Warsaw Pact complexities that the teacher kind of explained to us. He was kind of sick then. He didn't really have a good voice. I continued working on the project and I successfully finished up all the local citations that I had to do so I can print it out, send it to my friend, and clear it out with my friend for the rest of the project so he can eventually glue all of it onto the board. Although the citations were difficult due to having to note the concise details in Noodle2.com, I was still able to do it. The teacher also showed grade intimidation, showing that if we have a low grade and if we fail the project, it goes on 10%. After that, we did another video guide on the Korean War project on screen and answered questions on a paper. For lunch, I ate my lunch today, but I felt kind of sad since the one was sitting with me locally. I finished it fairly quickly, but instead of wandering for friend groups, I just went down with my friends in the library as a backup and I sat with them for most of the lunch period. After that, I decided to just break my social fear again with another person and to talk to someone else nearby that I don't know. It was another senior girl. It went smooth this time, and I've mostly talked about future classes. It's a stark contrast to what was said during my PE class, the chaos of it earlier. But anyways, big credits to you if you're watching this right now. And of course, proud again since days ago, I broke my social fear during break and I logged it again while talking to a bunch of random people in the library, and then helping me break down my fear of talking to new people, which then allowed me to talk to new people today. For math, I learned about more triangles and figures and more notes how to learning how to prove them using table sheets and the scale factor. I learned about the AA, the SSS, and the SAS their theorems about shapes. I get it a little bit like the last one, but I still can't quite grasp on how to use it exactly, so I still need help on that. It went mostly fine. Of course, the teacher called out the class here and there for not following directions, but the kid used the restroom for like 30 minutes, and when he came back, he used the excuse that he pertinently threw up, and the teacher sent him to the nurse office. I don't know if it's true or hearsay, but it is what it is. Later on, we continued on a worksheet about shapes and theorems using the help of the answer key. I understand a little bit more in terms of scale factor and applying the theorems, but I still need help actually understanding the theorems themselves, even though I can apply them. My friend who was tired, as I said before, called me a retard. Whenever someone is tired socially, they always say things that they usually wouldn't say, so I hope he's still doing well now. Then dismissal was here. Then I walked home, but in that same restaurant that I got breakfast this morning, I got burrito and a few tacos this time, and I held a short conversation with one of my friends across the room that I knew, and it went fine for most of it. Although I do think they're a little bit nervous, but I always wonder what happened because there's a lot of people. Their mom was near, so I wonder if I made any mistakes or anything or made people uncomfortable. Anyways, an interesting thing that after that I thought about. That I derived from history is that what if every friend group is treated like nations with its own symbolic flag? Think of a friend group like not as people, but as a house, a sort of satellite group of a bigger network. They have their own flag that's symbolic, and whenever I visit those people I don't know, it's like bringing me and a few other officers to their flag and setting my flag with theirs to prove a coalition of nations and people of culture. The act of talking itself to them, like you're setting our own flag. Like friend groups may not have like UN meetings or NATO councils against like social security and like people do, but imagine like me talking with a boy or girl who is of say Greek descent, for example. This can be during school or even during vacation. I just decide to talk to random people. I'm bringing my own US flag when I talk to them to set it with theirs as an example of a friendship itself. It symbolizes a miniature UN or NATO friend groups conference itself. There may be no council, there may be no meetings, obviously, but the friendship itself is real. The thoughts in symbolism become the soldiers. What decision will we make next is one soldier. There's a soldier for haste, there's one for regret, and thus more. The physical soldiers obviously are the friends themselves that we'd also add at that same time, but it's also interesting because in this lens, every random talk to another person becomes an international meeting culturally that will one day start a coalition, just like countries talking to each other to start allies or enemies. But sometimes think of myself as social intelligence officer. We got social knowledge, we do these videos, we do a lot of other things in real life too. So in their lens relative to others, since our system is a little different, some people might think that we are an invading army within this metaphor, even though we're just looking for a meeting. It's essentially misinterpretation. But as a result, if they think we're an invading army, then we'll have to defend ourselves and our own borders within that metaphorical sense. It's an abstract thing because everybody has their own metaphorical rank and file socially and all about life within sociality and the experience. Mine is public, but others have it private for the ones who are willing to see. Think of it as not a friend to friend meeting in like the typical literal sense, but within the abstract sense. Think of it like two different military officers. Let's say, for example, me. We got our experience, we got our life system, we operate this way. We may change since then, but compare that to someone else who may operate completely differently than us. The minute that we start a friendship with them, that's like a meeting between two different countries with opposing ideologies. But you still manage to be friends and to create a place where there are two flags, two people, and a coalition in this metaphor.